too late. We're live.
Yeah, no.
Hello to all you Patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 1 of Canadian Patriot Prepper Podcast, the number 1 crossover podcast in Canada. We're recording on November 23rd, 2020. As always, my name is Andrew, and I'll be your captain. Joining me tonight, we have Ian, Benny, Alan, Gavin, and Brian.
We want your feedback, good or bad, or if there's just a topic you want us to cover, or if maybe you just want some more dad jokes. You can email your praise to feedback@prepperpodcast.ca, or you can direct your hate mail to feedback@canadianpatriotpodcast.com.
Well played, sir.
And if you want to help keep the Canadian Prepper Podcast on the air, buy some swag. We have both the Canadian Prepper Podcast t-shirt and the tactical Velcro patch at prepperpodcast.ca. All proceeds help keep the lights on, the backup generator fueled.
Once you've done that, you can also help support Canadian Patriot Podcast because we need your help too. So visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon and get a better vision of the show for just $1 an episode. And you can show that you're not a communist by heading on over to our webpage and buying a CPP t-shirt for just $19.99 plus shipping and theft. So CanadianPatriotPodcast.com is our homepage. Follow the link on the right.
And by better, that means we re-record this without all the stuttering and drinking in the middle, right?
No.
Yes.
No,
We do it a second time for fun.
Normally we have it recorded at a higher bit rate, and it sounds nicer, a little crisper. But sadly, my microphone has decided to do something new and exciting, so I probably don't sound like myself. Tune in next week to find out.
That's what I appreciate about you, Andrew.
Well,
By not yourself, do you mean Morgan Freeman?
no. We'll see if I can get my microphone to cooperate again for next week or not. I love that Voicemeter just arbitrary is like, you don't get a microphone today.
Yeah, well, who needs that anyways?
It's fine. It's not like I've done anything with it since it worked last week. Anyway, what are you drinking? We'll go around. I'm going to start with Ian. Ian, what are you drinking?
I am drinking some Bacardi Oro rum and coke.
Ooh. Sounds fancy.
Yeah, secured for $13 at duty free.
Hey, there you go.
Excellent.
Nice.
Gavin, what are you drinking?
I too am having a rum and coke, except it's a Bundaberg rum, which is not that fantastic, but that's what you get when it comes from a place full of dirty criminals, and it's Coke Zero.
But they make good root beer.
I don't like root beer. Maybe that's the problem.
Benny, I don't know if you're in a position to be drinking yet.
Nope. Not yet.
Nice try.
And I appreciate that Benny comes in with the worse audio than me. Brian, what are you drinking, buddy?
Drinking some Coors Original, boys.
Nice.
And Alan, what are you drinking?
I have some 40 Creek Barrel Select whiskey in one glass, Diet Pepsi in another glass, and about the last third of my second 2-liter jug of water for the day, keeping up with the Patriot Challenge.
I like that you keep the beverage and the mix in separate containers. It's very high time preference of you.
Whiskey worth drinking is worth drinking straight, and caffeine because caffeine.
Fair enough.
Well said.
I'm drinking my very last White Girl beer. I've got my final pumpkin brown ale from Shakespeare Brewing in Shakespeare, Ontario.
He's got his
Tastes
Uggs
like
on too,
nutmeg.
don't worry. Yeah.
Yeah, they're super comfortable.
It takes a confident man to admit all that.
I guess.
I'm not sure which is worse, the fact that you've got it or the fact that you had more than one.
Comes in a
right.
6-pack.
Yeah,
and
this
it's
is my
amazing.
last one.
Yeah.
Uh,
You don't like local craft beer made with local craft pumpkins?
well, okay, you got me on that one, I guess.
No, I don't.
Fine.
I'll
Patriot
support
Challenge.
local Canadian businesses.
There you go. Good man. Let's do Patriot Challenge. So it's your reminder. Do 5 things to be a better person every day. if you still have social media, I strongly encourage you to use our templates and post them on social media. I will not see them. Exercise for 45 minutes, practice a skill for 10 minutes, read a book for 15 minutes. We have suggestions with Book Club. Drink 2 liters of water a day, if you're Alan, and complete one task that will improve your life.
I'm through almost leader 4, just for the record.
I thought you said it was your second, third, something.
Bottom third of my second 2-liter jug of the day.
Well, there you go.
That's a lot of math for somebody that's been drinking pumpkin beer.
Yeah. But no, grab those templates and post them on the social media, even though we don't have a social media, CPP is dead. Long live CPP, at least on the gram.
Yeah. Yeah, kicked off the gram and no admin access to the Facebook.
Keep us alive by posting our templates.
That's right. Tell your friends about us. Get them to listen to the show and buy our stuff.
We need a social justice hashtag, don't we?
No.
Yes. Hashtag unshitty yourself.
I mean, yeah, I don't know
I'm gonna
how
start
that's
using that.
helpful or poignant, but fair enough. Let's do feedback. I want to start by welcoming our newest Patreon, Ian. Not on the show, but Ian from NH. I assume
What,
he's in New
American?
Hampshire?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Clearly
North
must be
Haverbrook.
could be clearly a based individual with a name like that. So I got a first email that comes from Jason about the Glenn Tate podcast. He says, wow, great guest. Congratulations on scooping the Canadian Prepper podcast on getting the famous author on your show before theirs. Well, I think Glenn just did a Google search and Patriot came up first. But anyway, well done getting them to come on your show to help with all the heavy lifting. Shame on Gavin for not being there. Shame. Your show provides insight and inspiration in the fight against senility. All right. Or totalitarianism. Kind regards from the bottom of the Crown Royal bottle from Jason.
Well, Jason, I heard that you were going to be listening to that show, so in contempt, I avoided it.
No one has contempt for the listeners like we have contempt for the listeners.
Just kidding, buddy. I had nothing to share, so I graciously stepped out and let those who actually knew who was coming on the show give their input.
And stand by while I started listening to Prepping 2.0, Glenn Tate's podcast, because we're going to make a little guest appearance there next month.
Well, there you go.
It's just gonna be like we're gonna end 2020 with as many crossovers as we can get.
That's right.
We
Yeah,
got
my
an
goal was to
email
do 4 this year, and we got a month left. Let's get it done.
That's right.
Yeah.
Got an email from Daryl regarding thoughts, and there's a YouTube link that references something that is scary AF, which is my favorite unit of measurement, just for the record. As fuck, it's just my absolute favorite unit of measurement. Great podcast, by the way, Andrew. Keep up the good work. Apparently, Andrew does this solo. We really missed the sound bites, though, and Tim's humor from your fellow Patriot, Daryl. So the YouTube link, I looked at it kind of briefly, was a video. Looked like there were some live leaks and some other things that were referenced in there, and it was a whole lot of Trudeau wanting to end personal possessions and make everything communist.
So I didn't want to do the 20-minute video, so you're not getting a soundbite on here of the 20-minute video, but I had to go and look up what this was about. And it's an InfoWars thing, because I'm like, man, this guy reminds me of Alex Jones. Like if Alex Jones was a little bit older and had a beard.
I had a better voice.
Well,
And wasn't quite as crazy.
Well, depends on how much of the 20 minutes you listen to.
It's like 3.7 versus 3.9 crazy.
So the David Knight show, and David Knight was the fellow in the show, is part of InfoWars. Because I took 2 minutes of interning to go and figure that out.
Which as we all know, is the most reliable source of information on the internet.
I mean,
Well, it's got info in the name. How could it
say
be wrong?
what you will, but a lot of the things that Alex Jones has said over time have been proven to be true.
I know, and I feel scared just for even knowing that that's a thing that's possible. How can he be so right sometimes?
I know. So I watched part of the video, and it's more of the same feedback that we got a while ago. It's the strategic committee leak from the Liberal Party saying that they are going to Agenda 21 everybody, but it's not Agenda 21 anymore because it's COVID, and they're going to put us all in internment camps, and by different quarters of the year they're going to do different stuff, and supply chain breakdowns and internment camps, and the military being involved. And it's the same. We read through this once before on the show, and people keep emailing it to me, and I don't believe it. I don't think that the Liberal Party or the government, big G, have our best interests at heart. But I also don't think that they're this ridiculous that they're going to write out like an operations plan where they're like, well, in Q1 we're gonna slow down the supply chain, and in Q2 we're gonna introduce the Great Reset, and in Q3 we're gonna put in military checkpoints. I don't see the.
No, their plan is more like in Q1 we're going to bend over the entire population. In Q2 we're going to slowly slam it in there.
Or I don't know what Andrew's saying, but maybe just Q1 is they're not smart enough to be able to pull something like this off in the first place.
Well, I mean, they've
This is
already
it
pulled
exactly.
off a
And
lot
they're just a
of
bunch of
this
fuck ups,
stuff,
and
though.
they're just
We've
fucking
already
everything
talked
up.
about a bunch of this, like secondary lockdowns, rolling restrictions, internment camps. I mean, okay, so like the RFP from the government's not actually, it doesn't say internment camp, but they want like some sort of COVID isolation center. Well,
Although it's
but
not
they wanted-
specifically COVID.
I know, but they rolled this out
But
before.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't give the government a lot of credit. I don't give them any credit in this particular case. Not that I think they have my best interests at heart, but
I don't
They're
think they're
also-
capable of actually executing something like this without us finding out well in advance. And even when they try to, I mean, they sold us on the idea that the long gun registry was going to cost $1 million, and then they finally pulled the plug $45 million later. Like they're just not competent enough to do this, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Well,
There'd
the
be
interesting thing
too many moving parts. Too many people would be, privy to the plan that aren't necessarily on board with the plan. And
Well, that's the thing. If you're a whistleblower and you're talking about something like this, if you're going to be a whistleblower, you're going to go on the front of like every media page you possibly can, give your full name, full information, back it up with verifiable information, because you're probably going to get killed within a week if you actually like spilled the beans on something that's major. So either you're going to be all in or all out. And I don't think whistleblowers going to say, I was at this meeting on this day, but I can't tell you who I am. I'm like, come on now, really? So
I was at that meeting too, and can't
Who
prove
would you,
anything different.
yeah.
who would you blow to if everyone in charge is the one doing it, though?
Well,
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but like if the RC, like we've discussed it before on the show, the RCMP is basically in the government's pocket. They are the government, so if they're the ones pulling this out, who's going to step forward for citizens and say, hey, this isn't allowed, this isn't right?
But you wouldn't leak a little anonymous document to some obscure source. You'd leak it with your name, verifiable info, and back it up, make it verifiable, and then put it as many places as you could, not just one place where it leaks around the internet slowly.
Well, I'd have to say, boys, that this would be a pretty big moving operation. That's a lot of parts that are moving. I think there's somebody that would probably blow the whistle on it for sure.
I don't think one person would blow the whistle on it. I think you'd have like a group of people, and as soon as one person said, yeah, I was in this meeting and this happened, like 4 of the people would jump up and go, you know what, you're right. This isn't cool, and I was there too. And
sure, not to mention how much people love attention on Facebook or whatever nowadays. They'd probably just want to jump all over it. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe it does go as deep as you guys are talking about, but I don't think they're not this well organized to be able to put something like that together.
I don't think you can use the term liberal government and deep in the same sentence. I don't think it's capable.
Or organized.
or organized, yeah. I mean, how many tenders have been turned down for the long gun or for the gun confiscations too?
They show their incompetence time and time again.
Yeah.
So
the thing that I
sadly,
wonder about
it's
this
still working for them though.
is maybe this
it's because
isn't
people
like,
just don't seem to care. The average person's not smart enough to pick up on what's going on. So
there we go. We have a winner. I think that's where we're at, is that I think this is like some QAnon level media apparatus, like keep people that are overly interested in politics, people that listen to this show, from having anything
10 of you.
meaningful to be energized about. So instead we're like, people are getting excited. People that are politically observant are getting excited about a scary list of things the government plans to do next year.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's where we're at, is like, this is either somebody just being an idiot on the internet or somebody in the government being an idiot on the internet.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I think this is much closer to the whole thing about 9/11, where the Jews were all told to stay home, and that turned out to be like one guy who in Egypt or something that thought it was a great joke to say that all the Jews were told to stay home on 9/11, and that perpetuated around the world because the truth gets halfway around the world, or the lie gets halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to get its pants on.
It's a broken telephone thing.
Well, that's what I wonder.
Well, we have extra day. And I'd be in no way surprised to find out that the government had broken telephones. So that's probably the most logical answer.
Yeah. And I mean, once you make a meme about it and you put it on the Book of Faces, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. Nobody fact checks a meme.
no.
I want to welcome the YouTube commenters. We have King of OV Kings, who is apparently a new listener, and thank you for joining us on the live. And also the Albertan, regular commenter on the YouTube. He disagrees with our assessment, assuming that they are incompetent is a mistake and we should take them seriously. And I will. It's not that I don't take the government seriously. It's that I don't believe that they're serious.
You want to know what I take serious is their level of incompetence and how much they're screwing up the country. Okay.
Right,
And
like-
I'm very serious about what that's happening right now. So I take that serious, but I don't take them serious that we couldn't outsmart them. So
Prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
yeah.
I think that anything is possible. I think this is highly unlikely.
Agreed.
So have we beat that one to death enough, or we're gonna
Probably.
keep kicking it?
It hasn't yet been burned.
We
to the
could probably
ground.
kick that can around for a while. I mean, I don't mind beating up.
I think we're
liberals
200
all night.
and something episodes into kicking that one. All right, I guess I got another one here from Mr. Uzi. Dear Slamfire Radio, first I must tell you how genuinely satisfied with the quality of your show's audio. For a show that isn't hosted by a bunch of self-proclaimed industry experts in security and technology, you guys rock. Taking the time to provide us with quality content that doesn't blow out my speakers, it is excellent. Taking pride in the free work you do for us is a huge thing in my books. And actually using the money received via your Patreon account and Amazon affiliate links to improve the show is a vast step above those shows that choose to purchase diapers with theirs. I don't actually partake in the Patreon thing, but the cash I give to Frosty once a year seems to be something worthwhile. Enough rambling. I can't wait to hear about Trevor's radio-controlled snowmobile races as winter sets in, Kelly's adventures in Winter Seed Land, and Adriel's shopping deals and testing results.
All right, we've got another email from Billy called Ruck Nasty. This is in response to last week's show. Billy's got quite a bit to say on the subject, so I'm glad that I triggered somebody else that's on the spectrum about ruck marching.
Maybe we need to do Ruck Marching Part 2.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty.
Or
big.
is that what this is going to turn into?
I think that might be, I fear that might be what this turns into. Ruck
Excellent.
marching Part 2, The Ruckening.
Ruck harder.
Ruck
Rock
longer.
on, Ruckers.
Yeah. Rock on.
So, I will do my best to read it, and then maybe we can respond to it at the end. Let's see how that goes.
Wake me up when you're done.
Hello, I've just listened to your podcast and figured I'd give you some input from my experience with rucking. A little bit of my background. I did a contract in the Canadian Army. I was a pogue, but during this time I completed a patrol competition and won CMBG's Mountain Man. I also picked up sheep hunting 2 years ago. Sheep hunting really thrust me into the backcountry and rucking world. I've done several
You should
scouting.
really
trips
not
in
use
TR.
the word thrust and sheep in the same sentence, though.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't wait.
Gavin, wrong part of the world.
Yeah.
2 paragraphs in and we've already got off the rails. Well done, Gavin.
I've
I
done
couldn't
several
hold that one in.
scouting trips and 2 hunts going after sheep. These trips range from 2 to 7 days and 50 to 150 kilometers living out of my pack in the mountains. Last year's hunt concluded with a 20 kilometer pack out with 97 pounds of sheep and gear on my back after killing a ram. Trekking poles are your friend. They're real knee saver going downhill and energy saver going uphill. They even save energy on flat ground with a heavy pack. They also save your ass from falling over while crossing difficult terrain like shale, deadfall, and slippery rocks on creek crossings. One downside is they occupy your hands while in use. Slings, bear spray holders, and Kifafaru gun bearers help keep anything you don't need readily accessible. I buy the carbon fiber ones from Costco for cheap and simply return them for a new pair if it snaps on a trip. I disagree with some of the things you guys said about nutrition while rucking. Proteins and fats are obviously a must for daily diet, but don't do any favors while rucking. Proteins and fats digest too slow for your body to utilize the energy during high exertion. This leads to cramps and fatigue. Stick to simple carbs while actually rucking. My favorite is Swedish berries. Pop a couple in every 15 minutes while climbing or pouring ground to keep your energy levels up. Save the fats and proteins for when you're sitting down for a break. Trace mineral tablets are cheap and lightweight to replenish salts while working up a good lather too.
Oh man, I could spend an hour tearing that apart.
What about range bacon? What about
Not
range
even
bacon?
halfway there, boys.
Range bacon, boys.
I liked your weight recommendations for training. I personally went too heavy a few times during training, around 80 to 120 pounds. I thought I was getting a good burn done in a short time, but I put too much strain on my joints. Sticking to 70 pounds and lower with hills incorporated to achieve a good workout with happy joints in a shorter amount of time. My current training pack setup is 60-pound sandbag mounted on my load shelf, plus water and pack weight. This brings me to approximately 70 pounds. It seems to work.
That's pretty
good for
solid.
me. I use a sandbag because free weights, dumbbells, and other hard, dense objects beat the shit out of your pack and don't represent load when it comes to weight distribution. For socks, I really like Darn Tough socks. They're merino and have a lifetime warranty. I trialed them along with a pair of Smart Wools, and the Darn Tough socks are superior in my opinion. I wear them with the Army sock liners or other sock liners I've purchased over the years. My feet have become butter soft bitches after years of wearing 2-sock system in the Army and while working my next job. The single socks, no matter the sales pitch, don't work for me. For hot spots and blister care, Liquitape is top of the dog pile. Buy some off Amazon, roll around a Bic so you don't have to carry a full roll, and be done with it. It stays on your feet for days and won't fall off no matter how wet it gets. Don't waste your time on any of the other shit. You touched a bit on packs that might be okay for the casual user, but failed to mention the big three: Kifaru, Exo Mountain Gear, and Stone Glacier. These companies that primarily focus on backcountry hunting. My hunting crew and I all like the Exo packs we own. They're smartly designed, carry heavy loads without being painful, and have a great warranty. All three of these companies offer different size backpacks that work on their frame systems, so you can buy one frame and multiple bags if you need different capacity depending on use. I want to try the Karafu ones. One of these years because everyone I talk to uses them, loves them, and Aaron Snyder is a badass. These companies all cost around 1,000 Canadian and blow Mystery Ranch out of the water. One of my hunting partners bought a Mystery Ranch before his Exo. The Mystery Ranch had way less padding on the hip belts and shoulder straps and didn't carry the weight as well. I know Exo offers a 10% veteran military discount, so that basically covers shipping. These brands tend to hold their resale value once north of the border too. Happy rucking, Billy. Not bad. Only like 3 interruptions.
Sorry.
I'm not.
No.
Yeah, I
So
wouldn't be either.
I read
Kifaru
it
is
earlier in the show notes, and I was like, "Oh, geez."
I had to intern it while you were doing it. So Kifaru is Swahili for rhinoceros.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess last week, I guess on that topic of autism around actual packs, we talked primarily about more military tactical style packs because that is the realm that I live in.
Yeah.
I'm not a backcountry hunter, but yeah, Kifaru, I have heard really, really good things about their packs. I have never handled Exo Mountain or Stone Glacier.
Yeah, Kifaru I'm familiar with as well because they kind of cross over into some of the tactical world with some things. So yeah, the other ones. Yeah.
But I think this is one of those situationally dependent things. If you're going to be backcountry hunting, if you're going to try and shoot sheep, you may have slightly different requirements than somebody that's just doing this for exercise or other reasons that may become apparent sometime around May of 2022.
Yeah.
If it involves sheep and not shooting them, we kindly ask you keep your plans to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least a different type of shooting.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why the
And
Scots wore
the
kilts.
sandbag thing also good call on the sandbag.
I love
weight is
my
weight, but some
sandbags.
weights work better than others. So I appreciate Billy's feedback. At some point, I think we might need to actually do like a nutrition episode to talk about some of this stuff.
Yeah.
You
If
can
only
find that
we
on the
knew
Canadian
someone
prepper
that-
podcast.
that was a
Totally.
nutritionist to be on
Yeah.
the show.
I'll see if she'll come on.
There we go.
Excellent.
I also feel like the companies he mentioned, and get me correct me if I'm wrong, but when you did the rucking podcast, you guys were mainly, I believe it was Dave who was looking for a proper pack, and so you were working within his constraints, which also had the budget factor.
Yeah, he
Well,
certainly didn't
like
want a
he's
$1,000 pack, but
To a certain degree, I mean, that was to help Dave out, but to another degree, it was also people that are not going to be doing backcountry hunting.
yeah, there's the size thing, like all of those packs are great, and I'm sure they do have some smaller ones, but like if you're going to put a couple of sandbags in your backpack, it physically doesn't need to be that large. And if you start having, a large bag with a small sized weight, even if it's heavy, kind of all flopping around, I mean, that's not going to do you a whole lot of favors anyways,
But
depending
I
on
also
where you're
feel
walking.
like humping out 100 pounds worth of sheep meat and equipment is no small
Yeah.
feat.
No,
That's-
Can we please not use humping and sheep in the same sentence?
Well, while we're on the backpack subject, what would you guys suggest to people out there that have like takedowns that would like to use a backpack to put a takedown into their backpack plus carry ammo to the range and possibly a handgun or two?
Anything from Mountain Equipment Co-op, because they're a whole bunch of hippies and they would
Yeah.
hate to know that their bags are being used to carry firearms.
I support that.
Except for they're bankrupt now, and I don't think they even have stores anymore.
Well, the Ruger actually sells a bag, like a takedown bag for their 1022 takedown, but it's supposed to fit their PC9 as well. But it's hard for me to find that without actually buying the takedown. Is there anything you guys would know that would be comparable to that would be good for something like that?
I mean, any decent pack is going to have like a long pocket on it somewhere on the outside, usually for storing like tent poles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So depending on the size of it, you could put it in there. Depending, obviously, if you got tent poles, it might not fit in there, but or they'll have like bungee systems along the sides of the pack, things like that. So like if you're not worried about it being visible, right? Because if you're out in an area where you're allowed to carry a gun.
Well, my whole thing's more concealable, especially about like taking it in and out of house to go to the range, basically, right? So
yeah, I mean, really, you can use anything to put a takedown in. Like you could use a tennis racket case or something like that. I mean, there's going to be some people that go and tell you that that's illegal and it's concealing. Yeah, it's concealing a firearm, but there's no actual law that says you can't do that.
well, as long as it's locked, right?
Well, no, if it's non-restricted, it doesn't need to be locked because it's in transport. As long as it's not loaded, which means nothing in the chamber and no loaded magazine inside the firearm, or at least not inside the magazine well of the firearm, even if the chamber is empty.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you get, some of those takedowns have little spots in the back to store a magazine or ammo, but that's in the gun, but not like actually in the gun, like we all know we're talking about, where one is in the
Not
chamber.
within the feeding path of the firearm.
Yeah. But the wording is, vague and ambiguous because
Also, at some
Little
point in the
things.
future, I feel like we need to have an episode about socks.
Yeah. For Justin?
Well, I meant for us, but I mean, I'm sure he'd listen.
yeah. Now would it actually be like 2 episodes because like you've got to handle like
One for
the
each
left
foot. Yeah.
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 The liner sock episode and the outer sock episode. I think that makes sense.
Mm.
So
That-
10 to
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I was gonna say Tenda Canada sells a backpack or a takedown pack for the Ruger for $25.
I'm sorry, which one is that?
Tenda Canada, like the distributor, firearms distributor.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have an Allen 29734 Ruger Blackwater takedown case for $25.
All right, thanks, Ian.
There's
Blackwater, you say?
Blackwater.
Does
Maybe
it
they just
have
call
Does it have a bear paw embroidered on it?
well, maybe they just have a XE on the side of it now or something. We'll
Yeah.
throw in the Zoom chat, it'll go there.
Is it pointing at anyone's genitals?
Yes.
Let's hope not.
Thanks, Ian.
Do we have anything else from Billy that we want to?
I mean, I could disagree with his concept of fats, proteins taking too long to break down, but I think we've deferred that to a full episode on nutrition later.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do a nutrition episode because I feel like some of that might have been taken slightly out of the spirit in which I intended it, which was eat food before doing physical work.
Yeah.
But we should probably have an episode about how to eat food.
Well, yeah. I mean, then you start getting into the whole like simple carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, and then fats and proteins and all of that. And depending on what kind of a diet you're on, how you utilize those things.
I wake up in the morning and I have breakfast. That's what I normally do.
That's a seafood diet. You seafood, you eat it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
better than like 60% of North Americans that don't eat breakfast. That's Brian's already.
It's called intermittent fasting, and it's trendy as fuck, right? We decided that was an adequate
That's right.
term of reference.
Because
so
only
it's
the millennial
trendy.
generation could find a way to make skipping a meal a trendy health thing. Yeah, no, we just don't eat
take
breakfast. We
the
call it
fur.
intermittent fasting.
I know,
now.
right? Oh, it's intermittent fasting. Oh,
I
God, check
eat
it
breakfast.
out.
I love breakfast. I usually eat it around noon, and everything's great.
See, I don't skip breakfast. I just take a deferred meal, so I just eat 2 lunches.
Oh, go full George Lucas there. Nice.
Exactly.
Gonna talk to
Well,
my
can you
dietitian about
identify?
seeing
Can you
balls for
identify
milk.
your meals the same way you identify your gender? So, like, if you identify eating breakfast at lunch, that's what matters, I guess.
Well, it is technically break fast, so you are breaking your fast.
Yeah.
So the name still applies.
You just have
What
to
if I
wait
have
10 minutes.
breakfast- What if I have breakfast food after 6 p.m.?
Oh, that's
That's
just
fine, buddy.
delicious. Yeah.
Free breakfast for the next day.
Yeah.
Pre-breakfast.
My favorite was going like when I used
It's
to
all
work.
what you identify it at the time.
Yeah, when I worked at the bar, going for breakfast at 2 a.m. was good.
Yeah, were you having cheeseburgers and fries for breakfast at 2 a.m.?
No, it'd be like proper breakfast, like an omelet or something like that, or just like fried eggs. Yeah.
Because normally I would have cheeseburgers and fries at 2 a.m. and it was just fine.
Oh no, breakfast food at 2 a.m. after working a shift, working at the bar was good times.
All right. Shall we do some news?
Yes.
I feel like we've got a long episode coming up here.
Well, it's
Sick of
it's a
American
crossover
news.
episode, so it's 2 hours, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Hope you all planned ahead and brought beer.
I got lots of beers.
This is on the T or the tie. I'm not sure. TY.
The Tai, which is type of salmon.
The tie E.
Yep.
I see. You have zero privacy, says internal RCMP presentation inside the Force's web spying program. So you remember all those times that I was a self-proclaimed security expert? I told you guys the government was watching what you were doing and to like not put it on the internet if you don't want people to see it.
Or that time that we
User
talked about the RCMP hiring a bunch of people to monitor stuff on social media.
Yeah, turns out we were right.
Yeah, and you got your ass kicked off.
Well, I feel
Hey,
like
do
my
I'm right.
ass kicking off was not related to the Queen's Cowboys,
had
but
to
more to
be.
do with.
Come on, man.
more to do
All
with
at
the
this time
Zuckerberg.
of the year, all this stuff happening right now, and then you and Gavin both get kicked off at the same time.
I think our
Yeah,
booting
that's-
off had more to do with the U.S. election than it had to
Yeah,
do, like Andrew
exactly.
said, with
That-
the boys
that's
in
right.
red.
It all is mixed together.
Perhaps. So the RCMP has tried to solicit a open
Underage
source
prostitute- oh.
intelligence software. No, Babel X, Babel Street. Babel X is the name of the program they've tried to procure. which they've been using in various jurisdictions for some time. I think Manitoba going back to 2016. But they've done this all in a rather secretive way under the guise of national security exceptions, trying to avoid having to go through any sort of public tendering or public discussion.
Well, it's not secretly looking at your stuff if you have to put it into public tender, is it?
Well, I mean, yes and no. The argument is that they don't want people to know that they're using these tools, but also, does it specifically matter? Because again, like we've talked about this before, if you put it on the internet,
It's on the
people are
internet.
going to find it. And I mean, like, I would make the argument that if you put it in anything electronic that's connected to any network, it is eventually going to be seen by someone if someone tries hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
I guess if
There-
they
there's
spell
exceptions to
out,
that.
yeah, if they spell out what programs they're using, it'll be easier for people to block those things that they exploit.
Oh, well, that's easy. All of your social media and the dark web. I should really get the drops from Letterkenny from the dark web.
The
Because
dark web.
The dark web. Bring me the dark web. Because I mean
Yeah.
that seems to be a big part of the story is that they're on the dark web, but
The dark web.
they don't seem to really understand what it is or how it works, and it may or may not be behind Tor, but also Tor is not the dark web, so I don't know. I have a lot of concern about the people that are running the intelligence operations for the RCMP.
Once again, you're putting a little too much faith in the concept of RCMP and intelligence at the same time.
It's like military intelligence. It's an oxymoron.
No,
I mean-
I'm with the Albertan on this. Why attribute to incompetence what I could attribute to malice? Because I think that yeah, maybe they're not actually out to get me, but it's a safer bet to just assume they are.
Yes.
I mean,
sir.
yes.
You're only paranoid till you're right.
Yeah.
That's what the guy in the black van kept saying.
That's right. We got your back, Andrew. Nobody's breaking into your house. We're watching it all the time.
Or do they just
So
want
they-
us to think that they're incompetent so we stop paying attention and then
Right.
they're actually really, really good at what they do?
What, ride
I
horses
somehow
and shoot
doubt
guns?
Ride horses anyways.
They don't even know how to do that anymore.
No, I saw them at the Royal Winter Fair doing the horse riding thing. They're still pretty good at it. Or at least there's a number of
the
them.
musical ride is phenomenal. I'm so glad that we spend $200 million a year maintaining
Yeah,
that.
I don't know if I would use the word phenomenal, but like it costs a lot of money.
And they can light up a fire station like nobody's business. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
When it comes to shootouts.
Hi-oh.
I'm gonna do something.
Yeah, I was gonna say that fire station didn't shoot itself.
That's right.
No.
No, but the officer in London did shoot herself while she was trying to requalify.
I know
When was this?
hunters. I know hunters after the first year out of their safety course that know better shot placement than those guys.
I think it was about 3 years ago. There was an RCMP officer at O Division in London, and she shot herself in the leg while drawing her sidearm to requalify at the London Police Range.
I would really love to get like a stat on this and see how many cops have done that, because like it seems that we like at least once a year have a story about a cop doing that.
Yeah, and not to mention like the rash of, I believe it's been RCMP officers that have had firearms stolen or misplaced in the
Yeah.
recent while.
Oh yeah,
So it's
ridiculous.
only been about 400 in the past. Was it 10 years? 5 years?
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
nothing.
And I
You
mean,
know.
if it happened to you or I mean, I'm pretty sure we'd never be able to access firearms legally ever again.
Yeah, but that's like a 99.97% non-theft rate, so we must obviously lock down the rest of the world for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
I'm
that makes
so glad you
sense,
found a
right?
way to
Because
tie that into Corona.
Not Corona specifically, just the overseers deciding when we can and cannot see our people and go to work and earn our living.
or buy certain things at certain stores.
Well, you guys are foreshadowing a little bit. We'll get to that.
They haven't started doing that here, have they?
We'll get to that. Further down.
Been
the deck.
patient. Gosh.
All right, let's
God.
follow up on CERB payments. This is in the Toronto Sun. An audit of Canada's emergency response benefit has yielded 800,000 ineligible people receiving CERB.
Shocker.
Yeah. Whoever could have predicted that would have been abused?
The government's like, hey, we got a bunch of free money here. Do you guys want to responsibly take it from us or irresponsibly take it from us?
And a bunch of high school kids said, yes, we will.
Are you? Oh my gosh.
No, so it's actually it's so funny because I was talking to my kids about this, and a bunch of their classmates who have never filed tax in their life but have a SIN number managed to apply and get the CERB. And of course, my kids were like, I was like, don't even think about it. Don't.
Yeah.
And of course, they
Why?
work.
You just have to pay. You just have to pay tax on it. So what's wrong?
Well,
with
no,
it?
but the thing is, they don't even see that coming. They don't even see that aspect coming. But anyways, I was like, that's fraud. That's a crime, and you have a job, so never mind. And they're like, yeah, we know, but but there's lots of kids in high school.
But like, Dad, I could really use a set of nods.
Yeah, that's right. I want the newest earbuds. But yeah, no, it's amazing how many high school kids have done this that I know of.
How many guns do you think were bought with CERB?
Oh,
Not enough.
Nowhere near enough.
Tons.
Yeah, if you were going to abuse it, that would have been the way to do it.
Right,
Well,
exactly.
I mean,
to
I'm
take
sure
that
there
money
are
and
a
be
number
like,
of
you know
people in
what? I'm
Toronto.
buying the things that you don't want me to have. So suck it.
a lot of gangbangers did do that, if we recall from our last
Yeah.
article.
Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, in urban centers, some youths have procured firearms
Yes.
legally using
Yeah.
their CERB payments.
Well, they're illegally obtained CRB payments. Were
Illegally
used to
obtained
illegally
CRB
obtain.
payments for illegally obtained firearms that were illegally brought into the country.
So
to-
clearly, more laws are going to help.
Right? Right?
Well, in a shocking turn of events, the CRA is unable to explain how anyone could have received these benefits that have been claimed.
When all you have to do is click a box that says, I affirm I'm good for this benefit.
I know, eh? How could they figure out how to get around this security?
What's
Yes,
really
yes, yes,
interesting,
no,
though,
yes.
Password
that,
is
like-
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Only an
What's-
idiot would have that on a
it's more to do
suitcase.
with- it's more to do with that you were supposed to have filed last year's income taxes in order to receive your CERB, which is the part where it's like, how do the high school students that have never filed income tax receive the CERB payments?
Because
But
they
you guys
have the
didn't file
interweb.
tax, and you guys didn't file income tax when you were in high school.
No.
No.
I mean, yes, but that's stop prying.
I used to get paid in cash, so no.
Well, I used to file a tax. I made no money, but I would file.
I was only a little kid, so I didn't know any better.
I
Like,
filed-
oh,
started
this is-
filing when I was
This
16.
is where this is my white privilege showing.
Oh boy.
Sorry.
Benny, take it
Sorry.
easy.
The thing that's interesting about this is that they're now demanding to have some sort of an audit done. When wouldn't they like have a threat of a vote of no confidence if there was an audit into the spending during all of this?
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, but they're
That's
going to
kinda
ask for
weird.
the audit, and then they're going to block the audit for the same reason.
No,
It's
the,
kinda
the
weird.
audit has been done. The audit is complete. The audit has been presented before the House.
Really?
Really. And we have managed to spend $81 billion on a $24 billion program.
Oh, so it's just like the long arms register.
Perfect. I
Seems
mean,
about right.
that's only 4 times. Like, it's not even 4 times as much. It's
Yeah, it's not even 4.
frankly those are rookie numbers. Like,
That's a
the
success.
The liberals could do way better than that if they really wanted to.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're in lockdown 2.0.
Yeah.
Lock down harder so that they can now go and like blow that, you know.
Well, yes,
Times.
I'm really certain that like Trudeau missed the over under on it, and he thought it was going to be 100 billion, and so that's
Yeah.
why he's doing it again to see if he can make his money back. He went
Right.
double or nothing.
Yeah.
I think my favorite piece of the whole article is more than 14,000 people in the top income tax bracket, those earning more than $210,000 a year, filed for CERB claiming they had no income. That is my favorite stat out of the whole thing. The entire
Well, if they're
audit.
people who are doing that are like people who are making that kind of money and above are people like accountants and lawyers who all of a sudden couldn't work. So, frankly, I'm not surprised that they were
Really,
without
do
income.
you know any accountants or lawyers that are out of work?
No, but
I know
can
a lot
think of
that were when they weren't allowed to work for
I can think of
for a period of time.
Well, I can think of a few people that I know that guarantee they paid a heck of a lot of income tax over the last 10 years and are without work. So, yeah, they could probably go ahead and file and get it.
I'm not saying they can't file. I just found that was particularly entertaining that 14,000 Canadians in the top tax
yeah,
bracket are like, yeah, no, we don't have money.
Yeah, but you know that
No,
like,
it's not. It's
they're
not. I
gonna
don't
use
have
this
money.
as
It's
a-
I'm out of work, and so I want to take your money.
Yeah, I want to take some of my tax dollars back.
Hey, I'm
That's-
eligible.
I'm
yeah,
all
exactly,
for malicious
Gavin.
compliance. You guys know
More
the
money,
shtick.
more
I'm-
problems, right?
Yeah.
So like, if you're making that kind of money, you buy these big houses, and then when your money dries up, you're in trouble, like everybody else. Or
I'm all for
maybe they're
malicious
just taking
compliance.
advantage.
If you're legitimately making 200 or if you're making $250,000 a year, and somehow you stop making your money, and you're entitled to absolutely go and get it.
Yeah.
Or if you're a high school student that lost your job at McDonald's and you're entitled to your CRB, give her, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like the fact that we've managed to spend more than 3 times the amount that was originally budgeted for, and we have nearly 1 million people that have fraudulently received benefits.
Yeah.
Maybe
There's some people that got it
level
that
of
shouldn't have.
oversight should have been taking place at the CRA
Yeah.
before we.
Yeah, any oversight would have been better than none.
But I feel
I'm
like this
pretty
is one of
sure-
those things that we talked about a long time ago that like,
Yes.
hey, a bunch of people are going to abuse this and the CRA is never going to get that money back.
Oh, you mean like people that are in jail? Yeah.
Andrew,
Why, can we
Andrew,
put
what
people
about
from the
this? What
CRA
if
in
they would
jail?
have taken some of that money and given it to the CRA to better invest in people investigating and people frauding? Do you think
No,
that?
the CRA's got lots of budget. They're good.
So they, what's that? It's just
If anything, we
incompetence?
need to defund the CRA.
I'm
Defund
right
the
after we
CRA.
defund the RCMP, we can defund the CRA.
We
Yeah.
could simplify the tax system in Canada and then just basically
Yeah.
eliminate the CRA.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah,
I
and
have
along
very
with
If you want, I
simple
can get someone on
suggestion
to
for
talk about that.
simplification. To make it very simple, I keep the money I earn, and the government can
Yeah.
fuck off.
Yeah. If they really want, charge a consumption tax that I can
No.
then decide whether I want to buy the thing or not. At least then you have a choice in the matter.
And then even if you're not a citizen, you're paying taxes because unless you're
Yeah.
paying cash, but that's a separate issue.
I mean, I'm not
That they'll
not
get rid
paying
of with
cash.
digital.
Yeah, cash is king. Except for now in the Corona times when nobody wants to take cash.
Yeah,
Except for some places that are cash only, which is weird.
Yeah. Those are my favorite places because you can barter with those guys.
Let's do another. We're going
20
to get
bucks
into
is 20
some-
bucks.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, if you're young and you need the gold pieces.
No tax.
Just
no tax.
remember, if you're on the receiving end, to wear your mask, even if it's through a hole in the wall. Safety first, guys.
Fair enough.
Start talking about some gun stuff. Another Toronto Sun article. This is an opinion piece by Goldstein. Trudeau blames Ford for Toronto's gun violence. Trudeau criticized Ford and other premiers by not getting behind his idea for a new federal law giving municipalities the power to ban handguns that would first require the province to give municipalities the power to enact it.
Okay, wait.
This is,
Making more laws is going to help somehow.
no.
Totally.
The reason that a 12-year-old
It's
boy
worked
was
this
shot
far.
in Toronto a couple of weeks ago was because Toronto hasn't banned handguns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, Andrew. Like that's the easy solution. Because
This is
everybody's gonna
everybody's
drop
fault
their
but
illegal
mine.
handguns if they ban them tomorrow.
And it's all Canadian Trump's fault.
Hey,
Canadian Trump.
do not associate those people together anymore.
Ford man bad.
Ford man bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ford was
yes, but
I
not for
thought
this
Ford was
particular
okay
reason.
now because he was like doing
Oh,
in line with Trudeau.
this is what they're trying to do, though. They're trying to make him like. Don't get me wrong. Like I thought Dougie was my guy. He's not my guy, but at least in this, he's still like standing firm. But like they're just trying to make him look bad, and that's what they're doing. They're like, oh, he's for the guns, and that makes it his fault. And like, next it's going to be like he literally gave someone a gun, or he pointed the gun at the kid himself, because that's the way that it's going to go, right?
And
Oh,
remember
no,
that
he
time that
actually
gun
shot
laws
the
were a
kid is what's gonna
federal
happen.
issue, and they had to pass a federal law before the premiers could implement provincial regulation.
Yeah.
So even if Ford wanted to let Toronto ban guns, which Ford has said he doesn't, and Meritori is an idiot for wanting to, because as we've mentioned, banning the guns won't stop people from getting killed in Toronto by illegal guns being used by criminals in criminal enterprise.
They're already not allowed to have the guns or transport them or do the shooting thing, but whatever, yeah.
If Toronto wants to ban guns, doesn't the federal government have to first amend the Firearms Act to allow the provinces to regulate firearms at the provincial level?
Yeah,
And then the province would need to be the one to authorize the municipalities to do that at the municipal level, because that's how the division of powers works.
Yeah, but we're
Man
talking
bad,
about
no more
talking
talk.
about a government that has done an order in council and has totally proceeded Parliament. So
Yeah, but if they wanted to do it, they could do this by order in
That's
council
what I'm
because
saying.
the
They could just do
framework
that. They
already
could make another
exists.
legislative or another regulatory change, not legislative. And
but
say
I think
the
if you do it in the
provinces now are in charge.
municipalities, it just opens up a whole different can of
Oh, it's
worms.
stupid. It's
You're
absolutely
right,
stupid.
it does.
Yeah.
But the federal,
I
don't
find
think
it
they want to do
infuriating.
it, to be honest with you. I don't think the municipalities want to take this on because, to be honest with you, they got enough problems as it is, just dealing with like transit issues and potholes.
You're not
and
wrong,
shit.
but I think there are municipalities and there are politicians in those jurisdictions that would
Toronto.
absolutely take it on as a social signaling, virtue signaling fest that like Meritori could
It
be
would
like,
be-
in Toronto we banned guns, and
Yeah.
meanwhile
It's the
the exact
distraction.
same
in
number
that
of
same
criminals have guns.
in that same news conference, there'd probably be gunfire going off because
Right, but that's what I mean. It'd be
we
the
all
same
know that
criminals.
taking guns away from us ain't gonna do anything. It's
No,
not
but
gonna
that's-
stop the bullets
that-
flying from in Toronto because
But
we
that's the
don't
thing, though,
shoot,
like, so
we don't shoot our guns
the-
illegally.
the way that our government is set up, there's a division of power between federal things and provincial things. So, like, the federal government can't authorize on a municipal level things to happen because they don't have the power to do that. It's only the province that can go, hey, municipality, you are allowed to enact this type of regulation.
Yeah,
So
I guess. But then that means
so they need the province to buy in on it. And luckily, Ontario is not doing that because it's stupid. And two, it'd be absolutely unenforceable because it's like federally, I'm allowed to own this thing.
Yeah.
Provincially, I'm allowed to own this thing.
Yeah.
Well,
but in
and
my
as
city,
we've
I
discussed-
can't. But how do I get from here to there? Like, if
Right.
you know,
So it becomes
Toronto
a bylaw
bans
issue.
guns.
So some bylaw guy is going to come and be like,
yeah,
you get a fine for living here and having that
You didn't
legally
turn your
permitted
handgun in
property.
or if Toronto bans guns and I need to cross through Toronto to get to my gun club, and like where I am, it's allowed, and where I'm going, it's allowed. How do I transit through that area? Is that legal? Is that not legal? Like it becomes absolutely unenforceable and friggin' ridiculous.
Urbix, I told you, and I've said it before, if they do this, because I'm in the GTA like you, if they do this, I'm out of here. I'm gone. I'm moving to the country.
Well, I
'Cause,
mean, that's probably not a bad plan to have begun with, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I'm
just move
already
to the
kinda-
country, don't
I'm
wait for
working
it.
on that plan right now,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna expedite that issue real quick if they try to pull that shit.
But then,
because it's
like, what about
ridiculous.
unincorporated areas? To like they can't ban guns because they don't have.
But
a
Ontario doesn't have any
municipal
unincorporated areas anymore.
We're completely
That's-
incorporated.
That's why we had amalgamation back in 2001. This has been a long game for them, for this exact reason.
Well, anyways, the whole thing
it's dumb.
is stupid. I mean, I know nobody is gonna listen to me, and there's no politicians listening to this probably, but I'm telling you guys right now, you're making the wrong decision. It's stupid. Taking guns away from me is not going to stop anybody from getting killed in Toronto because I don't do anything nefarious with my guns. So I would really hope that you guys pull your heads out of your ass.
Don't know anything nefarious yet.
Or that they can prove.
Well, let's wait till.
But I think they know that. I don't think they're that dumb.
Yeah.
I think they fully know that we
But do
aren't
they,
the
like-
problem. But the problem is they're not worried about people's safety. They're worried about buying votes at the next election. And this is the kind of bullshit that buys votes because
So it's going to
people
buy you
don't care
votes.
and they're
It's going to
dumb.
buy you votes for one election, but then if you shut it all down and we don't have guns anymore and people are still getting shot, So
Then they'll just do something else.
then maybe people
gun
will
issue is
realize finally that they're talking shit the whole time, and that's
No,
not
because-
the real issue.
No, because it's the same
when they
with mass.
realize
If-
that, Brian, they realize that it's when they're hunting squirrels and rats in the streets to feed
Yeah,
themselves
exactly.
and what's left of their family. That's the
But
only time
it's-
people start realizing
All right,
they
but I'm
screwed
not
up.
using the shells, Benny.
banning guns is completely irrefutable. If we ban some guns and it doesn't stop crime, then we need to ban more guns. If we ban more guns and it still doesn't stop crime, then we have to ban even more because it's obviously not working.
And
It's
then once
completely
you-
infallible.
Once you've
Okay,
banned
but
them
when do
all
they-
and
when
it's
do
still
they finally
happening, then you
realize
need
that,
more
like-
budget for this and more budget for that and more police officers and more invasive searches and less rights and everything else because the people that had the guns legally didn't turn them in. So now we need to
Wait,
search everybody's
so
home.
You're telling me that
Exactly.
if we ban all the guns, they're going to bring back carding? Because I mean, I'm not willing to make that a trade, but I'm willing to consider that trade.
I'm
yeah,
not
but
willing
it
to
still
make that
won't
trade.
work.
hard no.
I don't know. I think
Because it's
really
going to be
society-
we're going to be more
society
like
needs to
1984
realize-
than we are now.
Society
I don't know,
needs to
we're-
realize that it's a people problem, and like when you need to really focus on like social issues and like put money back into the communities and get young people off the streets.
Yeah, but
Whatever
they can't
nonsense,
measure it
things
is the
like that,
problem.
right?
Well, I mean, they can't measure it in like an elected official's term.
Exactly. We
It's
can't
like a
we can't-
10-year to measure it.
But we
not a
can't even
4-year.
measure it in an objective way. You can't say, right, you can say I took 500 guns off the street and therefore there are 500 fewer potential weapons out
Yeah.
there. You can't say that we provided counseling to 10,000 people and so there are 500 fewer assaults. Like there's no positive correlation
And
between that.
One
And
of
therefore, the people who are making the decisions who have no idea what they're actually doing, the only thing they can make a decision on is some kind of hard data. It's the same reason why certain enforcement agencies, names omitted, must produce a certain number of violations, fines, and orders simply to justify their budget, because you have to have a metric. And there's no metric for counseling. There's no metric for reduced drug use. There's no metric for any of that, and so they can't prove it. If they can't prove that it's effective, then they're going to lose their money because
Well, I mean, some of that
so-
money that's going into the order and council and all this bullshit. Maybe if we put it into programs to start looking at data like
you
that.
mean like in the
maybe we
millions
can
of
start
dollars
making
that were spent
decisions.
on sending out a letter to every firearms license holder?
Like even just that, exactly, Gavin. Just that alone, if you take that money and you put it into a program that might actually help development of that kind of research that you were just talking about. Like Jesus Christ, is it that hard to make like rational decisions and like be like,
Yes.
like
Yes,
I
it
don't,
is.
that's where we were talking about earlier that the government's incompetent. They can't actually think of something that basic and be like,
they
we're gonna
can
put
though.
our
They just
money
don't
into
care
something
because
like
that's
that.
not gonna buy them votes in the short term. That's a long term thing because
I
to
think
see
it
any
would
measurable, but that their term
But
is
it would
4
eventually.
years.
Instead of separating us the way they have been doing, if you started making decisions like that were good for the group, like for the
But
for
it's
the commu-
it's,
like
it's a
community,
long
I
term
think-
goal.
I
You
think-
need at
I
least a
think everybody
decade.
would start voting.
Then they wouldn't.
I would
be-
vote for the fucking Liberal Party if they actually made the right decisions. I wouldn't care if
but
they
then
were
they wouldn't.
conservative
They,
or NDP
but
or
then they
Green.
wouldn't be the
I
Liberal
wouldn't
Party.
care if they just made the right fucking decisions.
But that's
I
the
wouldn't
problem,
care.
though. Like the decisions that we're talking about are things that take like a decade. So they would need to be in power for at least 2 terms to even get close to a measurable result to say that thing that we did 8 years ago is why you should vote for us in this coming election.
Well, fair enough.
Nobody
Gavin,
wants to do
Liberals-
that.
Like,
the
look
Liberals'
how
game is
like,
much shorter than
look,
that.
All politicians'
coronavirus
game is shorter than that.
But coronavirus came here like what? How many months ago? And look how much it's changed our lives. So I agree with what you're saying, but like if we were really fucking serious about something, we can make a change just as quick as coronavirus changed all this shit.
Yeah, the problem is that the only way to get a change that quickly is to start prohibiting things, right? Yes, we saw a huge change, but at what cost? And that's we're going to end up with the exact opposite
that's what
problem.
I'm saying. It's like they're doing it at a cost for our freedoms. But if our leaders were actually smart, they can make drastic changes that would be good for us just as fast.
Yeah, but they could, but they don't, because those things don't
'cause
buy them the
fucking
votes. That's because they're not
douchebags.
worried about what's good for everybody. They're worried about staying in power because that's how they make money.
Well, that's the problem, and that's the problem.
Same
Right,
reason they
so-
don't go after pedophiles, because it would alienate their voter base and their prime minister. So,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
although it is a measurable metric, but I mean, I'm still.
Yeah.
Canadians are more worried about Netflix and whatever. These kind of issues, I guess, it's too hard for them to sit down and try to digest and be like, there's some ugly shit going on in our country right now.
For all the people that like to claim that they're woke, nah, they ain't woke.
No, they're not. They're pussies.
But, you know, Ford man bad. Don't do what Ford man does. Ban all the guns, because that'll get the votes and make everybody happy, even though we all know it's not going to do anything.
Exactly, because people are still going to die, and gangbangers are still going to gangbang.
Yeah,
right?
Being woke is just another flavor of latte. You're just trying to fit in with your basic crowd, and that's all it is.
Well,
Anyways,
Let's,
boys, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go off on a
I don't
tangent.
know. That's what the
we
whole
were
show's
recently told
about.
we needed more debate, so this is
Yeah.
this has been debateful. I would like to retract all of my previous comments about defunding the police. I love the RCMP now, or at least their union.
Which is also weird that we like a union.
I'm so confused. I have the weirdest boner.
I'm confused about how aroused I am, and I'm aroused by how confused I am, and
Yeah.
So this broke earlier today. This is on the firearmsrights.ca website, the CCFR's homepage. The RCMP's police union opposes the gun ban?
Yes. Slow
That
clap.
RCMP?
But you'll never hear about it because Trudeau will just come out and say they actually do support us, and that's all the media is going to run with. Exactly, that's all the media is going to run with.
Fake news, boys. It's fake news.
The National Police Federation, the sole certified bargaining agent of the RCMP, representing 20,000 members nationwide, the second largest police association in North America, had this to say in their press release. Costly and current legislation, such as the Order in Council prohibiting various firearms and the proposed buyback program by the federal government
Yes.
targeted at legal firearms owners, does not address these current and emerging themes or urgent threats to public safety.
Sounds good.
Also does not address criminal activity, illegal firearms proliferation, gang crime, illegal guns crossing the borders, or the criminal use of firearms.
Wow. Like, who would think to use that as a fucking
Hey,
law
Sherlock.
enforcement?
Hey, Sherlock.
Yeah. Oh my
I
God.
mean-
Is that really the issue? Holy fuck.
What the fuck? I love the RCMP now.
I know, right? They're really flipping the
Yeah.
script on us, aren't they?
Yeah.
I've seen some of the videos with this Pete Merrifield fellow he's the VP of whatever for the National Police Federation. So he's one of the very higher ups in their union structure. I really like some of the interviews that he's done over the last year or so that I was able to watch on the YouTubes today. He seems to get it. He seems to know what's going on, and
We should try to organize some sort of charity boxing match between him and that Murray dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the retired firearms inspection guy?
Expert? Yeah.
Yes.
The expert.
So the CCFR is asking you to
stupid calls.
do a couple of things. Spoiler alert, it's mail your MP.
Oh,
Ugh.
I
I've
know.
done that
Very,
fucking
Is that allowed?
times.
very high effort, very time consuming activity. Use the link to figure out your MP's mailing address. Send the National Police Federation's press release to them and ask them if they support law enforcement's effort to address actual crime and violence.
Oof.
my MP lives right up the road and is currently out hunting deer. Do I actually have to go through this?
Yeah, you should go
Yes.
talk to him.
But yours is likely going to be
Yeah, he'll be
on
cool.
board.
Yeah, your MP, much like my
Huh.
MP, will be like, yeah, This is
Mine
dumb.
not so much. Although it'll be interesting to see, do I support gun bans or do I support law enforcement?
Well, and that's it's the meme of the guy sweating with the 2-button option.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, my guess is they're going to be hammering on that gun ban thing, but like it'll be interesting to watch them sweat a little bit at least.
This press release takes their statement out of context and is a little bit more complicated than that. Is my predicted answer. I'm predicting that's what their answer is going to be.
My MP will probably be like, "Yes, I've read your letter. Please stop calling and following up."
Yeah, and no, you can't
he used to
be the
respond
sheriff.
to my letters, but he doesn't anymore.
Yeah, Sheriff of Stratford is not a thing. Please stop calling me. Yeah.
Yet.
My former MP, when I lived in an NDP riding, I'm their aide, her aide.
Well, you have to ask if their gender has changed recently.
Well, I suspect that her gender has not changed. She had an aide, and I met him at a business event, and he's like, "I love when you email because it always gets her so fired up, and she just rants for like half an hour every time your name pops up on the screen." And I felt that I had done my job, and then I moved out of the city, and now everybody around me is blue. So
that doesn't mean you can't still email her. You can.
She's also no longer in power, and I don't wish to harass a private citizen.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's different, I guess.
I do, but I don't because it's illegal.
Well, there's no benefit to me harassing that particular private citizen.
Isn't there?
I have better things. I have higher priority things to do with my time than harass that particular private citizen.
Isn't that what trolling's all about?
All right, let's talk about Manitoba, because apparently Manitoba is now a communist province.
Oh boy.
Yeah, good luck with the Conservatives getting back in Manitoba anytime soon.
Yeah, this doesn't bode particularly well for the middle of the country, does it?
No.
11 people are particularly disappointed about this.
Yeah, and the people that live in Manitoba.
Yeah, there's like 11 people that are inconvenienced by this.
6 of them are on this panel.
So, over the weekend, Manitoba has decided to block the sale of essential goods. As near as I can figure out, it's because certain retailers were finding ways to skirt the rules, loopholes maybe, almost like they had read and understand what the law was and then found a way to work around it.
Follow it.
They're penetrating the bureaucracy.
Yeah, follow the letter of the law. Yeah, weird.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing how businesses will read, follow, and comply with the law.
Yeah.
So the Manitoba government, in an effort to make things more draconian, has banned stores from selling what they have deemed non-essential items. I have the list from the Manitoba government. Came into effect on the 20th of November. Stores, retail establishments are automatically limited to 25% of their standard capacity or 250 people, whatever is greater.
Whichever is fewer.
Is it?
Yeah, fewer.
That's the way I read it, is whichever is fewer.
Ah, you're right. So I guess really, really big box retailers like Walmart are more limited. I don't know what the fire code is. I don't know how many people you can have in a Walmart or a Home Depot.
In Ontario, it's a number of people per square meter of available floor space when you subtract from the fixtures. So there's a formula for figuring it out. Most Walmarts are like in Ontario are like 1,000 people capacity. So 25% would be 250 people.
Oh, that is actually more people than I thought you would be able to get into a Walmart and be compliant with like fire codes.
Well, the ones out here in the city are massive.
Yeah.
That's a lot of ill-fitting spandex.
Yeah, exactly.
And sweatpants.
So there's a lot of big people that need
some
to
of it's
fit
not
inside
spandex, it's just that their sweatpants are stretched to the max. Yeah.
Well, and when they build the stores, they build them with the idea that each person will be carrying a cart. So if you've got 3 or 4 people that don't have a cart, you automatically expand the number of square feet that are available. And there's, like I said, there's a whole formula for it. It's rather
no joke. I'm not gonna say the name of the grocery chain, but there's a grocery chain in the States that the distance between the fixtures, the aisles, like the aisle size, is at least a half an aisle larger than other stores. They're accommodating the larger size of their customers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice. Interesting enough, I see the list there, Andrew, but one that is not on the list that was for about 12 hours was they actually refused sale of feminine products. And because they said it wasn't essential, but I guess the backlash was severe and swift. And so they actually...
It's not essential to people who are not women. And the rest of us...
Age, the one thing you might
I told you guys.
So
I told you guys, they're going to go they're going to push the free flow. Okay?
So right away they did that, and of course, like my sister-in-law's over there, and she was like, "Yeah, that lasted about 12 hours before the government was like, whoops, our bad."
Yeah, really, right?
I mean, this is part of the problem with the government doing this centralized planning thing and deciding who gets to have what in the whole. Very 1984 of them, which poignant and timely. So thank you for following along with book club.
Yeah. Hey, does anybody have any razor blades?
No.
I've been on the same one for, well, you can see it
2 months. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't bought them in quite a long time.
I've destroyed my microphone stand now.
Oh, geez.
So I went through the list and I was trying to find things that are not essential.
Okay.
And I'm maybe not the target demographic. So I went through and I as far as I can see, some of the things that are not essential, the vast majority of things that are not essential, children's toys, some types of electronics, i.e. toys for adults, your PlayStations and Xboxes and so forth.
Dildos.
Cell phones are still deemed essential, though, so you can still get your Angry Birds. You're okay. Some types of clothes, we should come back to that. Flowers and some types of home decor. As far as I can see, everything else is still available. Food and beverages, stuff related to food prep, personal care products such as soap, shampoo, razor blades,
feminine products,
which got added back in there. Health products, prescription medications, over-the-counter medications, vitamins, birth control supplements, first aid products, mobility assistance devices, wheelchairs, walkers, canes, so on and so forth, diapers, baby accessories.
Wait a second. If you need a walking aid, you probably shouldn't be leaving your house at this time.
Well, I mean,
you're
not.
fine.
But
if I get into a car crash and I need crutches, then I probably need to get them.
Or if you need to go to the place to get your car fixed, because you can still get all of that kind of stuff, or tools and hardware. And the clothing one is where things I thought got a little bit unusual.
Yeah, like what kind of clothing is and isn't necessary. Like,
yeah, so things that are on the approved list: winter jackets, snow pants, underwear, winter headwear, gloves, mitts, socks, and winter boots, personal protective equipment, and protective clothing for use in the workplace.
but like no PJs.
What about your underwear?
It's
regular
regular.
on the list.
Okay, hold on. Most importantly, what about socks? What if you want ruck socks?
Socks are on the list.
Okay, good.
But just like
books are not on the list.
but
Slacks
slacks
are not on the list.
Books on the list.
Okay.
That's essential stuff, man.
Like there's so
not
much
on the
on there
list.
though. Like, you know, they banned all this stuff from being sold because it's not essential. But like, mental health is important, especially in times like this where people are getting locked down.
Nobody needs a PlayStation.
So,
Well,
so
I mean,
what
like,
about?
I meant
But
what
here's
argument-
the catch to this though.
What about kids though? And like, it's getting close to Christmas, and if you take Christmas away from kids, that's horrible.
Well, I have an
I mean,
Xbox.
then I'm
I
a
have an
horrible
Xbox
person.
One, and that's where I get my Netflix from. So, Andrew, I would like you to redact that statement.
Right, but you
people
already
do
have
might
your
need-
Xbox. Do you need to go get a new Xbox?
Well, okay, fair
Maybe he
enough.
needs a new game.
But what if people want to watch Netflix on their PlayStations and they don't have one and they want to go get one?
So here's the thing: the items have not been prohibited for sale. They've just been reduced to curbside pickup or delivery.
Exactly.
That's dumb.
To be fair about this,
And then what
I
if
agree
they
that
want
it's
to use
stupid.
the Amazon link and get a PlayStation?
If you're gonna let them in the store, let them buy everything in the store. I mean, it's dumb that they're already deciding what stores are and aren't essential. But if you're an essential store, everything in that store is fine.
Exactly.
I agree. I
you're
agree
not
with
gonna-
you completely.
yeah,
I
You're
agree with that
open, people
completely.
can buy whatever they want.
It's not like, oh, you're safe in the sock and underwear aisle from the corona, but if you go into the children's toy aisle,
Yeah, dude,
that's where you're
you gotta
gonna get it.
out.
Every-
That's where you
Listen,
get
I can go to a
person
restaurant
I've
and sit
spoken
down and
to.
be safe from the virus, but I can't stand up and be safe from the virus. So maybe it is aisle specific.
And you definitely
I-
can't be drinking in a bar after midnight.
no.
Yeah.
Every person I've spoken to, even those who are super happy with the draconian rules that are placed in place, that are in place,
Why would you talk to those people?
admit freely that
This is dumb.
random application of the rules undermines the authority and the belief that these rules will actually keep you safe. Because if they really were there to keep you safe, then they wouldn't be all these, well, if
They're
you're doing
not
this,
there
then
to
it's
keep
okay.
you
If you're doing
safe.
that, you're okay. And we're gonna make these rules. These rules are gonna come into effect in 3 days. Like, if it was that dangerous, then you'd start it now.
Yeah.
If it
Well,
was
that's-
that
yeah,
dangerous, we would have actually closed the country down for 2 weeks in March, like they talked about doing in the first place. But we never
Not
did
it-
that. And I
uh,
sit and watch Flight Radar every day, and I
yeah.
see inbound flights from China landing in Toronto.
Not in
Vancouver.
March. They would have shut it down in like January when they knew it was coming over, because you guys discussed the military gave them documents showing that the coronavirus was going to come over, and they did nothing to shut the fucking borders down. So if they
Ah.
really gave a shit about us, they would have shut the borders down a long time
Well,
ago
we
and
don't-
not let
that's-
this thing come over
That's
here.
the big
That's the
if
crux
right
of it
there.
is they don't care
No,
about
they
us.
they,
They don't
don't
give a
shut the
fuck
border
about it.
down to people flying
that's,
in from
and that's
China.
what I keep
but
telling people right now is that, and a lot of my friends that have like just decided not to wake up to this and they just refuse to believe it. I'm like, if the coronavirus hasn't taught you that the government doesn't care about you and they're willing to leave you in the lurch and leave you on your own, then I don't know what to tell you. And if you're willing to just keep voting the same way and go along with the same shit, then you're just perpetuating the problem that's in front of us right
the
now.
biggest problem is the uneven application of the rules and regulations. Like, we're letting people fly in from all around the world.
Yeah, and like,
But
how many
then,
people
like,
does
so-
he want to immigrate into the country over the next couple of years? Like fucking. 4
I tried
million?
to
Or
cross the
fucking
border
2 million
this
Like,
weekend.
Jesus Christ.
And as somebody that is triple essential, because all three of the things that I do are deemed essential. I'm in supply chain for industrial and agricultural stuff. I am a first responder. And also through the whole Ragnarok thing, we teach the military and police and all kinds of other stuff. So, like, that's three things that I do that make me an essential employee.
Essentials. You sure you're not self-proclaimed?
I mean, some of it, yes, but some of the other
That's a
things,
joke,
no.
buddy. It's a joke.
I mean, when we write our own essential worker letters, yes.
Yeah. But the other two things then are not debatable. And one of them, and I was trying to travel to the U.S. to take a course over the weekend in soft entry, covert entry, or in layman's terms, as I was forced to use to describe it to the customs agent, lockpicking, which apparently somehow he couldn't possibly see the essential nature of that skill and in first responding.
A first responder doesn't get that.
Well, from
Yeah,
one of your
so-
last
He's
episodes,
But that's
a
the
border
problem, like,
agent,
so
he's not a first
I'm
responder.
allowed to go across because I'm essential. I'm allowed to go across for educational things, especially educational things that relate to that. He turned me away, but here we have flights every day from China coming in. Like, it's so dumb, it doesn't
Right.
make any sense. And at least if they're going to have a rule, make it,
consistent.
yeah. But no country or politician is
Consistent.
uniform in their enforcement of any regulation. That's the biggest problem.
Well,
we have.
I look forward to when we have our next type of government, hopefully a less communist flavor, and we start having some sort of centralized planning where we don't have the government deeming things that are essential that I feel are not. Things like tobacco or alcohol or cannabis. Things that I have no practical understanding of why that would be deemed an essential thing when I can't go buy clothes, which are something I actually need to wear.
Andrew, come on, man. You know how much we love to drink beer. Is that not essential?
I love to drink beer,
Okay,
The
so
collective
don't
hangover
need to drink
of
beer.
all the dependents.
can we
in the
all agree on the
country
panel
that
right now that beer is essential?
No.
What?
beer may or may not be essential, but the
Come on. Boys.
feeding the addiction of the people who are dependent on beer and the
And the
collective
government
fallout
should not
of
be in
them
the
not.
habit of giving out dependencies. It's like the sign that says "Don't feed the bears."
Okay, so Andrew, you're fine with that because you can make your
Andrew,
own beer.
Andrew, the Bears aren't voting you
Are you
into
okay with it
office and
because you
giving
can
you
make
free
your own
money.
beer?
No, I'm saying this is the level application of the rules. Tobacco, alcohol, and cannabis are in there. There is no way you can convince me that those are essential.
All
It's
right.
a
Well,
principle thing.
maybe they're not essential, but I mean, how can you
that's
not say that people don't have the right to access those?
That's
Those
different.
Those are
the
two very
argument.
different
That's-
questions.
Yeah, that's the
I
problem.
am
point.
I am all for people being able
Like-
to access these things, much like I'm in favor of them being able to access feminine hygiene products or clothes other than winter jackets, boots, snow
Yeah.
pants, whatever else
Okay,
is on
but
the
like
list we read.
Andrew, would you not agree that if you took that non-essential service away, that a percentage of the population might get a little testy about that situation?
Yes,
But it is
yes,
not
I would.
essential.
And that's
And as
and
we
that's
have
the
not
only
Is that
defunded
reason
not
why
now
it's still there.
essential? Is that not
we-
now
no,
essential?
no.
Like,
being
so
testy,
you're gonna let that whole side of the fucking population just go nuts.
yes. And then I'm going to
Really?
have the Queen's Cowboys tase each and every one of them into compliance.
Oh, so
I mean,
now you're all about the Queen's Cowboys coming in.
Well,
No, but like,
Andrew,
if we're going to have the application of force by agents of the state,
No,
let's
man.
have them
You
do
gotta
it
let
in
the people
a
have
way
their
that benefits
wines
me
and their
for a
spirits,
change.
bro. Come on.
no, but there's a difference with like I am 100% in agreement with Andrew. Like, as much as I enjoy drinking alcohol, it is not essential. I do not need that to survive. And yes, I understand the whole like yes, there are addicts that need it, and if we don't, then we're going to be dealing with the repercussions of their poor life
But
choices.
for the greater good, should we
But-
not just remove the addicts from society and let the problem
But
sort
that's
itself
where you go,
out?
and it's
So
the
you
same
call-
thing with like
Andrew, are you
feminine
calling
Put them in a
yourself
big
an
room.
addict?
Lock the door.
You're not an addict.
But- No, but that's the thing. So
You're
because
not
we're
an
not
addict.
because we're not addicts, we don't require alcohol. Therefore, it is not essential. And you
No,
can
but
use the same argument though
Okay, it's not
for feminine.
essential.
No. But you can use the same argument though for feminine hygiene products. Women can live without the use of those things. So
It's
if we're going to go
gross.
by the same, I didn't
No,
say it's
but I
not
mean,
gross
come
and
on, guys.
inconvenient.
You're
But I
telling
no,
me
no,
it's
no. I'm
not-
agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
It is not
It's gross. They can
essential.
do it.
They don't actually require those things to survive. So
No, they
therefore,
don't. They don't. But like,
But
would you
that's
okay, hold
no,
on.
I
time out,
absolutely.
time out.
I think everyone should have access to all of the things.
No, but would you want to go through life without toilet paper? Would you not want to wipe your ass?
No, but that's exactly what we're getting at.
It's
Is
not
that,
whether
like,
you want to or not. It's whether you can, and that's
It-
the thing.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean,
if you're going to have a
we can
decision on
achieve
what
it, we
isn't
can go and do it.
essential, then we need to enforce that fairly. I'm all for all stores being open and selling whatever the hell they want to sell. That's what I want. But if we're going to have stupid rules that say this and this isn't essential and this is, then, well, it becomes a debate. And then that's where you start getting into this, where it's like, oh, yeah, well, alcohol, we don't need that to survive.
Okay.
I enjoy it a lot better if I can drink alcohol, but I don't need it.
If this is what coronavirus is going to cause, then can we just all agree that coronavirus is bullshit and we should just go back to
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been
Like,
saying that for a
yeah,
long time. But
yeah.
Like, how are we sitting here and arguing about who can drink beer and who can fucking have tampons? I mean, are you serious?
Well,
Yes.
that's the thing, though, is the government is deciding those
Well,
things,
fuck
which is
that
bullshit.
government. Then we need to fucking do something about this, because if that's
yeah,
the
we
level,
get drunk on Monday nights and we complain
Yeah,
about
this
it on
is
the
yeah,
internet.
you're,
That's
you're
the-
doing it.
No, I
Yeah,
know, but like, if this
Welcome
is
to
the
the
level,
club.
of
Literally doing that
society
right
that's-
now.
like, this is not what level is.
but that's
Society
where
is not coming to this. We're not going
We're
to sit here and
illustrating how
decide
stupid
who
it
can
is.
have tampons and who can have beer and who can
But
have
that's-
weed.
That's
We're
what
not
the
this
government
far
is
away
doing.
yet. Coronavirus
That's-
hasn't put us this far away yet. We shouldn't be having this conversation.
but we're living that life right now. They
Well,
are
you know
deciding
what?
those things.
We should,
So-
us as a society should say, fuck yourself, because we
Yeah.
should not be having this discussion. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's a
We-
bullshit.
I don't care how bad it ever gets.
people should not be restricted from buying whatever it is that they want to buy
Thank
from
you.
whatever store it is that they want to buy.
There are exceptions to that.
Well, whatever. I mean,
Whatever.
you agree in capitalism, don't you, Andrew?
I mean, if you want to buy a
I do.
machine
I mean,
gun,
I'm saying that to Gavin's point of people should be allowed to buy whatever they want to buy. There are some things that I think that as a society we can agree are morally reprehensible. Like in
Yeah.
general, you shouldn't be allowed to buy another person just because someone is willing to sell you
Well,
one.
I
You
don't
shouldn't
think
be able to
that's
buy
what he
one.
meant. I don't think that's what he meant.
consensually.
I know. I'm just taking it to a level where, like, words
Words
a
are
final
But
important.
all
conclusion,
I'm
if you
saying
will.
is that if that's coronavirus has taken us to this point, then that's horseshit because there's no way we're not that far away because things are still bountiful. It's bountiful out there, boys.
They're only as
People-
bountiful as the government says they are, though.
Well, you know what? Then
And things
forget-
are less
forget the
bountiful in Manitoba because they have decided that you can't buy certain things.
The
They have
government says in
physically
Manitoba,
barred
you can't-
people. Like they have
Yeah.
taken pallet wrap and wrapped stuff in stores so people. It's not even on the honor system where they're like, guys, like just don't do this. But if you bring it up to the counter, we'll ring you through and just not say anything or like go and give you a dirty look or slap
Yeah,
your
but that's
wrist.
like
It's
hoarding,
they-
right? That's hoard buying, or like you're gonna.
But
buy
that's
too
the
much.
thing. They have decided that you can't buy you can't buy kids' toys, so they have physically barred people from entering the aisles where those products are sold or pallet wrap it
Oh,
so that you
okay, you're
cannot get those things.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
They've made that decision for people.
Well, you know what? Then like, I don't know. Well, then let's start fucking protesting about it. Like Jesus, what are we doing? We're all just
Can't
sitting-
do
We're
that.
literally
we're all
doing
just
that right
sitting here
now.
doing nothing. We're doing nothing about it. We're doing
I know, we
nothing about it, and we're just letting
There
these
are.
corporations teach us. Oh, you can't buy this. You can't buy that. Fuck that. Fuck that
There's,
shit.
there's 4 boxes of liberty, and we are exercising one of them right now, the soapbox.
And interestingly enough, Germany just banned that. So Germany
Fair
banned
enough.
public gatherings
Fair
and
enough.
protests right now.
Yeah, well, we're still abiding by the laws by not
Sounds about
gathering
right.
Yeah, we're
publicly. and-
socially
That
distant.
does not
Everybody's in their own
serve
house.
the will of the Führer.
No, it's like you think they would have learned their lesson by now, but I guess not.
That's pretty good.
yeah,
Alex.
well, whatever. German Hillary can suck it.
No.
I think we probably leave that there. I think we ought to start wrapping this up. Next week, book club.
Heck yeah.
No.
Sweet.
No.
You've got a week left. You can do it.
I believe
Big
in you.
book to get through in a
Jordan
week.
Peterson believes in you.
It's only like a 13-ish hour read. You could do that in a week.
13-ish hour listen depends on how
Where's
fast
the
you
prepper
read.
boys? I thought you were bringing in the prepper podcast, guys.
Well,
yeah,
Alan
they're
and
going to
I
tell
are.
us what they've done for preps.
Yeah, we'll do that next week.
Okay. Too much talking.
12 Rules for
Two-part.
Life is next week's book club, and December's book is Fahrenheit 451. Links is always in the show note.
Should put in how to operate a microphone on the next one too.
Yeah, well, I might try to figure that out because something happened and Voicemeeter ate all my settings. That's fine.
Yeah, that'll happen. But yeah, Fahrenheit
They're trying to shut us
451
down
makes up
slowly.
for 12 Rules for Life. We give you a really long book and then a really short book.
It's kind of like dating.
Yeah.
It's like popes. We have long-serving popes followed immediately by very short-serving popes.
So, reminder, because I'm legally required to make the disclaimer, if you buy stuff on Amazon using our affiliate link, we receive a portion of the revenue. And then I get to do whatever I want with that money because
Yep.
I'm an adult.
Correct.
Yeah. It also doesn't cost you anything in order to do that. You buy the things you would ordinarily buy on the Amazon. Amazon just reduces their profits by giving Andrew a cut of it.
And I also would like to say that nobody self-proclaimed anything.
No, I do all the time.
Yeah,
It's
no.
okay.
On a consistent
Definitely
basis, that's how I make my living.
A few things.
There's no self-proclaiming. Just
Let's go
kick
around.
assness.
See where everybody can be found on the internet. Ian, we'll start with you. Where can everybody find you on the internet?
All right, you can reach me at the Western Retreat at gmail.com. You can also find myself and Alan on Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern on Canadian Prepper Podcast on YouTube and the iTunes podcast.
I got bottom bunk, Ian.
Right on.
Except when
It's
they're
right-
when they're moonlighting on this podcast.
It's right there. You can take it.
I got bottom bunk, buddy.
Right on.
Ian, make your bed before you come on the air, eh?
Sorry, man. That's actually not
I know,
mine.
eh? Like, what
That's
the
not
hell?
mine.
He didn't
Clearly,
read the.
clearly
he
somebody
didn't
missed
read the
that book
bed
club
making
episode.
Yeah. I make my bed. Mine's actually
What
the
about make your bed? You didn't read make your bed?
I make my bed. Heck, actually here. There you go. I do make my bed. See?
Okay, but I got
Oh,
bottom.
yeah.
That's
It's a
my
nice
bed.
floral print.
That's right. That's why it's here instead of the house.
Super weird. Gavin, where can everybody find you on the internet?
You can find me on the Instagram, UrbexGTA, all one word. Like and subscribe. I need to get my followers back up because right now they're rookie numbers. Getting the Zuck.
Yeah,
guys
that'll
suck hard.
happen. Alan, where can everybody find you?
You can find me making fun of Ian here, as well as on the Sunday night Prepper podcast. Alan, that's with one L, at prepperpodcast.ca.
I'm surprised you choose to make fun of Ian as he consistently shows up for both podcasts, but okay.
Oh, I also make a lot of fun of Eric, especially when he's not on the show.
There you
Yeah.
go.
That's
Benny, where
like
can everybody find you?
stomping a puppy. It's just too easy.
BennyLewis.ca. Pick up some sentry straps, some rifles, speed loaders.
Brian, do you
While
have
they're still legal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, rifles or the
Public-facing
loaders? Yeah.
social media personality?
Yeah, you can find me at Brian Cornell on Facebook.
All right. As always, if you've listened this long, you deserve a discount code on RagnarokTactical.ca. Use discount code Patriot at checkout. Save yourself some money. And I've been told by our shipping manager, also my wife, that we may need to increase our rates next year because Canada Post is apparently
My
screwing us
wife.
harder than usual. So get the $10 shipping while we still have $10 shipping, because I've been told that it's a losing. We're not making money with that right now.
Hey, Rod's on hold. Do you still want to talk to him, or what's going on?
I'm afraid that Rod's connection
Yeah,
been
sorry,
disconnected
Rod. You
for
can't
BC.
make it, man. You're weak.
But make sure you go on the website for the Ragnaroks. There'll be some sweet hats. So if you're watching the show, there's a couple
Gavin's
people
really
wearing
pumping
them.
the hats, but hasn't taken the pictures to post on the website yet.
Yeah. I said they'll be on there soon. I'm building the mystery.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow's job.
For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I'd like to remind you that you are the true North, strong and free, and keep learning. Is that how you guys end it?
Stay
Keep
safe
learning,
and keep
folks.
learning.
Oh, there you go.
Close enough.
Something like that.
I never listened that far in.
Yeah.